Welcome friends, today I would like to introduce a new segment that was placed on the back burner for some time, but with the release of new hardware, I felt that it's time that I start making these videos. You see, in my opinion, the best TV box is the one you can build for yourself. What if you can assemble in similar fashion to a desktop PC, components such as a mainboard, heatsink and cooling fan, a PC case, and install your operating system to build your own super powerful TV box. In this first video of my newest segment called DIYBOX, I give you the latest release from the Khadas line of products called the Edge2. This is an SBC that you can use in conjunction with other accessories to create your own powerful TV box. They have two lines of products, the Vim series that's built on the Amlogic chipset, and the Edge series that's built on Rockchip. In my last video, I featured their latest release from the Vim line called the Vim 4, which is a very powerful development board topping the charts in many areas. And in this new segment, I intend to return to that board to complete my setup because there are some new and exciting developments on that board we need to take a look at. So in the meantime, I would like to introduce this new Edge2 model running on the latest Rockchip RK3588S Octa-Core CPU, and in later videos continue building on this model until we achieve the perfect DIY TV box project to stream movies and TV shows, as well as enjoy high-performance Android gaming and emulation gaming. So welcome to DIYBOX. My review is up next. Stay tuned. So the Edge2 comes in two versions, the Edge2 Maker Kit, which is the one you see here, and there is the Edge2 ARM PC, which is the complete assembled version that I'm striving for that's currently in pre-order only with a hefty price tag of $329, and you can get the Maker Kit basic model for $199. So in the Maker Kit, you basically get the SBC mainboard and a pair of dual antennas. The board itself contains one HDMI 2.1 port, one USB 3.1 port, one USB 2.0, one USB Type-C power delivery only port, another USB Type-C power delivery port which is also a DisplayPort version 1.1. It has three 30-pin CSI camera interface connectors, two FCP 30-pin connectors, one 40-pin DSI connector, and one 30-pin DSI connector. It has a built-in microphone, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connecting pins for the included antennas, a PWM fan header, a 7-pin UART and USB pogo pin connector, a power button, function button and a reset button, an RTC battery, and an RGB LED. So I've connected the Edge2 to my 4K TV that I'll be using for this review, and for power requirement I recommend that you use a self-adjusting USB Type-C power adapter with a voltage rating ranging between 5 volts to 20 volts 60 watts with an amperage of 3 amps and over. This is to cover any power requirement needed to power this board and accessories. When you start up for the first time, you'll be taken directly to the Khadas OOWOW installation wizard. Please note, to navigate, you will need to connect a PC keyboard and mouse via its USB ports or its USB Type-C data port. You also need to take note that the board does not have an Ethernet LAN port, so everything is done via Wi-Fi. So using the keyboard, hit the Enter key to continue, and you'll be prompted to connect to your Wi-Fi network. Once connected, you will be presented with a list of installations consisting of Android and Ubuntu images. Using the keyboard, select your preferred image and hit the Enter key, and this will begin the installation process by first downloading the image from their servers, and then you'll be prompted again to actually install the image. Once your installation is complete, you'll be prompted to reboot, where upon restart, you'll automatically boot into Android or Ubuntu. You only have to perform this process once, or in the event you need to install another operating system. So here we are at the launcher, and this launcher is the Quickstep launcher we have seen in boxes such as UGOOS and TOX. This launcher, however, is slightly different, where it has the same long-click menu pop-ups and drag-and-drop feature with a notifications bar with system controls. However, its navigation bar is positioned at the bottom right corner, and it only has home and back buttons and a recent apps button that has screenshot and split screen feature. Also with this launcher, you get screen rotation to portrait mode, and you have the ability to change the wallpaper from custom images, and you can install live wallpapers. So this firmware was built on the Android 12 SDK, and you get firmware updates with access to its developer options. For display, you get up to 8K at 60Hz, but my display is limited to 4K 2160p at 60Hz, and this is true 60Hz as detected by my capture card. You get adaptive HDR and HLG HDR display, but there are no settings for it as it's enabled automatically. You also get the option to enable dark theme mode, which makes viewing easier on your eyes. On this SBC, I don't get features such as HDMI CEC options, Samba server feature, or surround sound audio options. I will, however, test for surround sound audio in just a moment. So for pre-installed apps, these are what you get with the exception of the live wallpaper and the screen rotation app that I installed. As you can see, you get the Play Store, and you get full Google Play services. The Play Store is not restricted in any way and it updates automatically. You can also install Google Play games and access your saved games data. So here I installed some additional apps needed for this review, and first let's take a look at its exciting system and hardware information. So the manufacturer is obviously Khadas, and this is an RK30 board for those interested in custom ROMs. It's running on 8GB of LPDDR4X RAM at 2112 MHz and 32GB of eMMC internal storage. There is also a 16GB 64GB model. Its Bluetooth version is 5.0. Its Octa-Core Rockchip RK3588S CPU comprises of 2 cores, a quad-core Cortex A55 clocked at 1.8 GHz and a quad-core Cortex A76 clocked at 2.2 GHz for a total of 8 cores clocked at 2.2 GHz configured in 64-bit mode. This means that this SBC can run 64-bit apps and games. You also have the option to install the kernel auditor application and change the scaling governor from schedule to performance. Its display is powered by the new Mali-G610 quad-core GPU with a clock speed of up to 1 GHz. It has a refresh rate of 60Hz with OpenGL version 3.2. For Wi-Fi, it has a Wi-Fi 6AX 2.4 plus 5 GHz adapter. Its operating system is Android 12, internally codenamed Snowcone, and it shows that you have root access. Under devices, it shows that its GPU has Vulkan API version 1.1 support. This simply means that it's great at gaming and graphics rendering. So I borrowed the cooling fan from the Vim 4 model that's not designed for this SBC and temporarily fastened it to the CPU until my official Edge2 cooling fan purchase arrives. Without the cooling fan, this CPU idles around 76 degrees Celsius, and with this temporary cooling fan, it idles around 49 degrees, and we'll get a chance to monitor it during the gaming segment. This SBC can be used in various applications, and these are the available sensors. Please note that the gyroscope sensor actually works. If you hold the SBC and turn it 90 degrees, the screen will also rotate with it. Under codecs, it has the decoders for the playback of 4K HDR videos, but there are no decoders for Dolby and DTS audio, and from my understanding, the decoding will have to be done at the software level. So that's its system and hardware information, and let's now take a look at what we can do with this powerful SBC. Firstly, the box is rooted as shown here by the root checker app. However, there is no root switch under the Android operating system or in the OOWOW interface. For digital rights to stream Netflix and others in HD and 4K, it only has Google Widevine Level 3 with no HDCP protection. However, when you sideload the Netflix app, you get up to 540p resolution. My modified version does not work on this SPC. You can install the Kodi Media Player and your third-party add-ons, and I'll be using it in a moment to play some 4K HDR videos to test for surround sound audio. You can also install your streaming APKs, and you can navigate their menus with a direction pad. For watching YouTube, you get 4K 2160p resolution with HDR. For screen mirroring, unfortunately it does not have the official Miracast license, so you would have to resort to using Android's default casting feature via AirScreen or some other screen mirroring app that's restricted to 480p resolution. It comes with dual monitor display, but that works best under Ubuntu, as under Android it detects a second monitor, but I had difficulty getting dual display. You can however connect a touchscreen monitor via its Type-C DisplayPort and navigate using touchscreen functions. When it comes to playing 4K HDR videos, the Edge 2 is a bit glitchy and finding the best player can be a challenge. After testing, even with their built-in media player, I found that the Kodi media player delivers the best performance. There is a bit of a delay in starting the audio, but it plays nonetheless. The board triggers the HDR and the HLG HDR display feature on my TV, and maybe they can address this audio issue in an update.
And only a win for Barca would be enough, because it would give them the same number of points as Atletico, but the head-to-head goal difference is what counts in the case of
So 4K videos play the best on the Kodi Media Player with HDR display, and you can also play AV1 videos. For surround sound audio, the only media player that produces surround sound formats is the Kodi Media Player. In the settings area, change the mode to expert, set audio channels to 7.1 or 5.1 depending on your receiver, and enable audio pass-through and all audio formats below. In this first video, it processes Dolby Atmos and Dolby True HD.
Prepare to experience something spectacular with the sight and sound of Dolby technology. This is Dolby Atmos. Now, sound moves around you in three-dimensional space with breathtaking audio quality. It brings the on-screen action alive.
Next, Dolby Digital Plus and Dolby Atmos.
This is Dolby Atmos, the world's first object-based cinematic, with powerful moving audio that transcends from channels to moving around you with pinpoint accuracy.
Here you get DTS HD Master Audio. And now Dolby Surround and Dolby True HD.
This is the left channel. Next, we have the center channel. Over here is the right channel. This is the right surround channel.
This is DTS-X Master Audio. And this is Dolby Digital and Dolby Surround. So the Edge2 can process Dolby Atmos, Dolby Surround, Dolby Digital Plus, Dolby True HD, DTS HD Master Audio, and DTS-X. For those interested in gaming and emulation, would be happy that this is one of its strongest selling points. Firstly, it has a 64-bit architecture, which means on the Play Store you have access to all 64-bit apps and games. Secondly, this SBC comes with the new Mali-G610 quad-core GPU up to 1 GHz, so this means you can run any Android game whether from the Play Store or side-loaded on its highest graphics settings with no throttling. If you have a touchscreen device or monitor, you can connect it and play touchscreen games. You can also install gamepad key mapping apps and map your keyboard and mouse or Bluetooth gamepad to touchscreen functions. For users of the Panda key mapping apps, you can activate the app for free by connecting the board via its OTG port to your PC and running the Panda activation software. Activating via the Play Store or using the activation dongle does not work. Once activated, you can play all your touchscreen games using both apps. So to test its Bluetooth connectivity, here I connected my Bluetooth gamepad and it connects without issues and the connection is stable. And now I'll play some Android games, both 32 and 64-bit on their highest graphics settings, and I'll monitor for throttling and overheating. This is PUBG on UHD graphics settings, and I'm using the Panda Mouse Pro key mapping app with a keyboard and mouse. This is Shadowgun Legends on Ultra Graphics settings, and this game is gamepad ready, so you don't need a key mapping app.
Hey, here comes the goodies.
Here I'm playing a very high graphics 64-bit flying simulation war game called Wings of Heroes on the highest graphics settings with key mapping using a keyboard and mouse. This is Skyfall Chasers, a 64-bit game, and I'm using keyboard and mouse key mapping on the highest graphics settings.
Transfer bays are go. You should be able to use them to send me some starlight.
High value target down.
This is a very high graphics game called Life After that will send any TV box into overheating on its highest settings. Here it runs smoothly on the Edge 2 with mouse and keyboard key mapping, and temperatures remain below 60. And this is NBA 2K20 with all graphics such as crowd detail and reflections set to its highest levels. This game is gamepad compatible, and it's also a 64-bit game.
To the inside, banked in off the glass. 11 points in the game. Wiggins, but he gets it back. Just over 2.5 minutes gone by here in the second half. Now here's Green. 6 points for him. Had the space there, but it's offline. LeBron drives in. Here's Caldwell Pope, and you can count it. He'll go to the line with a chance to make it 3.
Guys, that time you went for the fancy finish for us.
For emulation, I installed the Aether SX2 PlayStation 2 emulator with the GPU rendering set to Vulkan and upscale multiplier set to 2.5x native. This is Devil May Cry 2, and this is the best I've seen this game play on ARM hardware. And this is God of War 2, and it handles really well, and the upscaling really enhances its graphics. So to end this review, let's take a look at its benchmarks and where it places on my rankings chart. First, its RAM and internal storage read and write speeds. It has a RAM copy speed of 26,562 megabytes per second. Its internal storage has a read speed of 261 megabytes per second and a write speed of 113. So I performed a test on its Wi-Fi bands, and I connected a USB Type-C hub that has a LAN port to see what kind of speeds you get from Ethernet over USB, and the results show that based on a network speed of 154 megabits per second, the 5 GHz band and Ethernet LAN over USB achieved the maximum speed of my bandwidth. This means that you have gigabit LAN over USB. The 2.4 GHz band, on the other hand, achieved 83%, which is pretty good, clocking over 100 megabits per second. The new Rockchip RK3588S Octa-Core CPU got a Geekbench 5 benchmark of 690 single-core and 2422 multi-core. This is pretty high compared to other high-end ARM models. Also, its new Mali-G610 quad-core GPU with Vulkan support qualified for the 3D Mark Wild Life test and the Slingshot Extreme test. and it registered a score of 4,381 in the wildlife test and 6,035 in the slingshot extreme test. These scores are also really high compared to other ARM models. And in the Antutu benchmark, it scored 542,786. Now that's twice as high as the Nvidia Shield. So that's the last of the benchmarks. Let's now see where it places on the chart. So the scores are in, and as expected, the new Khadas Edge2 is now the new #1 device on this chart based on its performance and Antutu benchmark score. There are other factors to take into account other than just performance, hence the reason it got a 4 out of 5 star rating. So this brings me back to my opening statement that the best TV box is the one that you build yourself. You can view this chart on my website where you can compare its benchmark scores and unique features with other top models. I also give you the best prices using these links right here, and you also get a link to its corresponding video review. To view this chart, see the link in the description below. In summary, this new SPC from Khadas is very exciting in the world of microcomputing, and I barely scratched the surface of its many applications. For example, in the world of robotics and AI. Its hardware performance is simply outstanding, outperforming every ARM chipset to date. In my niche usage as an Android streaming device, I couldn't ask for a more powerful hardware. I am surprised that you can get 4K HDR and all surround sound audio formats using the Kodi media player, but there are some decoding updates they needed to implement internally, which will make most media players process 4K videos easier. Another talking point for some users will be the lack of an Ethernet LAN port. When it comes to streaming paid subscription services such as Netflix, most users will have an issue as there is no Google certification or DRM to watch these services in HD or 4K, and the fact that they left out certain licenses such as Miracast. I don't think adding these services is possible, seeing that this is classified as a development board and not an official streaming device. Maybe they can make it happen, who knows. So friends, this brings to an end part 1 of the Khadas Edge2 Rockchip SPC development board. In my next video, depending on when accessories arrive such as its official heatsink and DIY keys, I will show you how to install them and look at some additional features such as Ubuntu and webcam application. So if you would like to build your own high-performance TV box or you would like to use it for another project, then I highly recommend this model or their new Vim4 Amlogic model as the best ARM options. So to get your hands on the 8GB, 32GB Maker Kit or the 16GB, 64GB Pro model, it's currently being sold for $199 for the basic model and $299 for the Pro model. There are also options to get the basic and Pro models complete with cooling fan and heatsink with the official case. For more information on pricing and availability from Khadas and other online stores, see the link in the description below this video. So give this video the thumbs up if you like this segment. If you are new to this channel and would like to be notified when I release updated videos, then I urge you to hit that subscribe button and ring the notifications bell to be notified as soon as I release these videos or decide to do a giveaway. Stay tuned and see you in the next one.